Good afternoon. On April 19, 2020, Wilmington police were called to a report of two missing women at 376 South Kerr Avenue. The reporting party was a roommate of the missing women. The reporting party stated that the two women had gone missing on the night of April 15, 2020, and the reporting party was under the misconception that you couldn't report a missing persons until 72 hours had elapsed. A missing person report was filed and both women were entered into the National Crime Information Center database. Officers on scene began the preliminary investigation and detectives were notified. It is not unusual for persons of this age group to be spontaneous. It was unusual that the roommates didn't come back home and also that they had left all their property in the home. Inside the victim's apartment was unremarkable. There were no signs of foul play and much of their property was still in the apartment.
Young couple disappeared on April 15th, and big news today coming out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Julie Grant joins us now. And Julie, this started as a very mysterious, suspicious case because they didn't pack anything. It wasn't like they were going somewhere on a trip. They hadn't told anyone. They left some stuff at home. But today, police have a huge development in the investigation. What'd you find out?
Oh, you're exactly right, Vinny. Well, today, this is very sad news. The car, that 2013 gray Dodge Dart that Stephanie Mayorga and Paige Escalera left in the night of April 15th, was located in an area of Wilmington, North Carolina, a very wooded area. And it appears that what looked like a suspicious disappearance of this young, beautiful, engaged couple may very well have been a violent crash. Today, that Dodge Dart you see there was located in a wooded area, and there were two bodies so badly decomposed inside, officials have been unable to identify them up to this point. The bodies are going to be taken for autopsy. The autopsies, we understand, are going to be occurring within the next couple days. But as we understand it, the decomposition was so bad at this hour, they have not been confirmed to be that of Stephanie Mayorga and Paige Escalera. But we do know it is Paige Escalera's car. Officials have confirmed that. And we know that from 911 records, there was a post that the Wilmington Police Department put up today. They shared it on their Facebook page. They shared it on their Twitter account because this case has been really capturing the nation's attention. It just seems so odd that these two women, as you mentioned, would go missing late at night, not take anything with them, no signs of foul play. Well, the 911 records show that on that night, there was a caller who said that they saw a car that was going at a very high rate of speed, possibly even hitting a wall, Vinny, and then winding up in a wooded area. And when those first responders got there, they did search with flashlights, did the best they could, but they were unable to find any sign of a crash. And so now, Vinny, this investigation has really shifted. It's shifted from a missing persons case to a traffic crash. And I want to ask you about something, Vinny, something that really got me. We showed that clip from the press conference, and we know that the Wilmington Police Department showed some surveillance footage from the two girls' apartment, some still photographs they were able to obtain. And when they showed them leaving, it was mainly to show their clothing description, right? But that's Paige Escalera. Look what's in her hand. Look at that. Now, we don't know if that is a beer bottle. It sure looks like one. Could be a root beer bottle. We don't know. But did that give you some pause, Vinny, when you saw that, like it did me?
Yeah, not just me. Last night, when we posted the story again and posted the video, a lot of viewers noticed that as well and were wondering whether or not that was in fact a bottle of beer or not, and may have had something to do with what happened here. And some people were wondering, were there any ponds in the area? Because we've known cars that have veered off the road ended up at the bottom of a pond are difficult to find. So yeah, people noticed it. People were talking about it. What's fascinating though is, and confusing to me, is if someone saw a crash and then they responded, they didn't find anything, middle of the night in the dark, they didn't return the next day either to see if there was any evidence of a crash anywhere?
Yeah, you make a great point there, Vinny. You would think they would search and search until they could find it. I don't know how extensive that search was or the proximity from where the caller spotted perhaps their car and then where the car ultimately wound up. We know that it was covered in vegetation, according to officials. So we haven't seen any photographs released of it yet. But if it was covered, perhaps it just wasn't visible to investigators, even in a daylight search. But of course, we're going to keep digging on that and see what happened if they returned
Sure.
to the next day. And I wanted to do some digging for your show tonight because that just really gave me pause. It's so sad, these young girls. And I kept thinking to myself, could it have been a crash that involved alcohol? I kept thinking back to that beer bottle photograph, maybe a beer bottle. Again, not sure, sure looks like one. But I searched the New Hanover County court docket, and both of these women, both of them, had cases pending for driving while impaired. Both of them facing allegations that had not yet been disposed of. As a matter of fact, Stephanie Mayorga, she was set to go to court for her next court date on June 1st, Vinny. She was arrested last year in October of 2019. And Paige Escalera, her next court date was going to be in the fall, October 20th. She was arrested just in March of this year, March the 8th. And we have reached out. We've requested those police reports. We're going to keep digging into the circumstances of those arrests. But I thought that was pretty stunning and just oh so sad if DUI was the cause of this crash.
Yeah, and you talk about what the witness saw, which was a high rate of speed, and it wasn't a car collision with another car. It was just high rate of speed and smashing perhaps into a wall and then veering off into this wooded area. So, I mean, all of that is very consistent with, at a minimum, some level of reckless driving or careless driving that was going on. Could be to the level. So I guess that's one of the things we'll find out through an autopsy, if in fact it is found through the toxicology, and may shed some light on exactly how all of this happened. The bottom line is it's an absolute tragedy. I mean, they'd just gotten engaged, have the rest of their lives in front of them, and this happened. So, Julie, and I guess they're doing the autopsy now. We'll find out in a bit. But at the end of the day,
Correct.
At this point, you put all the pieces together. There's two bodies. They were seen going in there. They haven't been heard from. So kind of putting two and two together. So doesn't sound like foul play at this point.
Right, Vinny. No, you're correct on that. And that was something that the Wilmington Police Department did note when they looked at the apartment, that roommate of these two women, reporting them missing. There were no signs of foul play or forced entry or anything like that. We see them leaving together, looking happy, going out for the night in casual clothing, leaving together, getting into that car. And then we find the car today. And I keep thinking back to what we heard Dr. Cyril Weck just saying about the other case, and how with what's found in an exhumation type autopsy would be different from an autopsy in a body that hasn't been buried. And I'm wondering, with the decomposition, how that may factor into the retrieval of evidence and how that may factor in to toxicology. So certainly a lot of questions remain unanswered tonight, Vinny.
All right, but you did answer a lot of them. Julie Grant, thank you so much for that update. I know all our
Thank
viewers
you.
were concerned, and we got, worst case scenario at this point, and our thoughts are with the families of both
Yes.
Stephanie and Paige tonight.